Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business presented by Gore Mutual. I'm your host, Ian McLean, President and CEO of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Each week I sit down for candid conversations where we go beyond the boardroom and behind the business to uncover the real stories of Waterloo Region's business community. Today's guest is Tamim Hamidi, Manager, Community Outreach with Serco Canada and a leader of the EmployNext delivery in Kitchener-Waterloo and Barrie catchment areas. Tamim's team helps connect job seekers to sustainable work, supports employers with hiring and onboarding solutions, and builds partnerships across municipalities, training providers, and community organizations. In today's conversation, Tamim will share how EmployNext works on the ground, the partnerships that make it possible, practical strategies for employers that they can use to hire and retain talent, and what success looks like for workforce development in our region. Let's go behind the business with Tamim Hamidi. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Tamim. I know it's busy time of year. You're always busy. You got a big territory to cover. Appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
So let's start at the beginning. I mean, we want to get to know you and what you're doing. And so share maybe a little bit about your career path and how you came into this kind of community outreach and workforce development role. And then weave that into Serco and the EmployNext program, because I think those things are all connected. But started how you got in the field in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in employment services for over 13 years, and I studied social services. And I was fortunate enough that when I graduated, I was working for one of the largest non-for-profits in Scarborough.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to have many different roles. I started off in frontline, went into job development.
So when you say frontline, what are the types of things that you would have done in those services sector there?
Yeah, so I started off as a summer job service recruiter where I was helping summer students obtain employment for the summer. And then eventually that led to becoming a full-time job developer within the organization. So this is where I was working with employers, where I was working with community partners. I was working with clients who were looking for full-time employment or part-time employment, and I was supporting them with their journey. Also very involved with employers at that time because I was connecting with a lot of employers on a regular basis, kind of trying to find out what were their needs, what were their hiring needs, and how we could support them with their workforce development and all of that. Then I moved on to a leadership role where I became the Director of Employment and Community Services. So there I was connecting with a lot of MPs, MPPs, politicians, deputy mayors. So basically my outreach landscape became a little bit wider, where I went from employers to politicians and, community organizations.
They're all involved, the folks involved.
Exactly. So that's what happened. And then I saw this opportunity with Serco, which was community outreach, and I was like, "Hey, this really aligns with what I want to do with my goals in the future." And then I just simply changed ships and came to Serco.
And it was funny every time because we meet on a monthly basis with the Immigration Partnership Working Group that I chair, and you're at those meetings, and it always gets me. So maybe talk a little bit about Serco, because Serco has Kitchener-Waterloo and Barrie. I'm never quite certain why, and it's different territories, but the Serco has both of those. Do you travel between the communities between Barrie and Kitchener-Waterloo? That's a big territory.
It is a big catchment. So actually, Serco is a service delivery organization, and we are very involved with the federal, provincial, and municipal government at all levels. We manage over 700 different contracts, right? We fall into three different main sectors, which is citizen services, defense, and marine services. So under our basically citizen services, we are the service system managers managers for the Ministry of Labor, and we are the service system manager for three catchment areas of Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And we manage a large portfolio of service providers. We're very involved in the community, and we work with them to deliver employment services within the local communities. The catchment, as you mentioned, Ian, it is very big. And yes, sometimes when there's a need, I do travel and I do go out and I meet partners, I meet service providers, community partners to just talk about workforce development.
Mm-hmm.
How can we better support clients? How can we better support employers or
And it's on
community
both
partners?
sides. It's those looking for job, newcomers that are looking for jobs, but also the employers and what their need is, what they're
Sure.
trying to fill, and it's really trying to bring those pieces together.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And we really work to try to understand the needs of the community, whether it's clients, employers, or community partners. We really work with them to understand what the needs are and how we can support the need.
So, and it's just kind of as we try to ferret out what Serco and EmployNext, if they're hearing it for the first time, describe who you are as an organization. You started that, and the mission of the work that you're doing. So you've got a contract to bridge some of those gaps in communities. What like how does the work that you're doing, it must motivate the staff, is that you're helping a newcomer that is looking for a job. You're helping us, for the most part, small and medium-sized businesses that are as much as possible trying to find the work or fill the jobs that they have. How do you kind of pull all those pieces together?
Yeah, so we are involved with a lot of contracts, and like as I mentioned, over 700, right? And we have different sectors, as I mentioned, defense and marine and citizen services. And basically, how we come together is that we're very locally involved, right? Especially within our local communities, right?
Mhm.
So we have a large team, for example, within just Kitchener, Barrie, and Waterloo. And we have designated staff who work with service providers. We have employer engagement specialists who work with, employers within the community. Then you have myself as manager for community outreach, where my role is to connect with and make strategic partnerships within the community. And how this all happens is through great community relationships
Mhm.
and great community partners. I can say that, just last year, I was able to coordinate a job fair with two of our community partners, which resulted in bringing in over 1,000 job seekers and over 45 to 50 employers and community partners, right? So collaboration is key for our business, and we definitely take pride in doing that, and that's something that we always strive for, and we want to build stronger relationships within the community, within the chambers, of course, with yourself and other chambers.
Mhm.
So that's something we always strive for.
So so Serco operates and delivers those services to the Ministry of Labor
Yes.
in lots of different areas. Talk about a little bit about, so you talked about the areas. Explain when you say defense and marine, as well as for the sectors that you're doing for employment services. Talk about those aspects of it. Um, just so people have an idea of Serco, the breadth of the types of roles that you're doing.
Yes. So to break it down, I usually like to break it down into three different sectors.
Mm-hmm.
So Serco is basically our parent organization,
Mm-hmm.
and we have three sectors that I usually like to call it. So we have the citizen services side, we have the defense, and then we have the marine. Right. So under the citizen services, we have EmployNext, which is my program, which is the employment services. As I mentioned, we are funded through the Ministry of Labor, and we manage a large portfolio of service providers. Again, under citizen services, we have driving examination services. So we manage the drive examination services within Ontario. We administer over 1.1 million road tests a year and over 2 million counter transactions. Under this comes under our citizen services.
Yep.
Under defense, which is the second category, we provide facilities management. We manage the Goose Bay, the Royal Canadian
Right.
Navy. We manage and we deliver services, and we manage the services there. We also have a great space program under our defense contract. We
Hmm.
have logistics support. And overall, we're really involved with defense. We're very big in defense,
Hmm.
actually, especially within the US and other countries. We're very involved. Now, when it comes to marine services, we provide like vessel ship support, right? We make, create, and provide it to the partner. We provide, complex project management support, right? So it's a lot of stuff that we are very involved in. So I just usually like to break it down in three different
Yeah.
categories. For example, when I'm speaking with our community partners, I get this question a lot: how is Circle involved with defense? How are they involved with marine? And it's just kind of confusing. So I'm like, okay, because we're a very big organization
Yeah.
and we're involved with a lot of projects, right? Earlier, I mentioned it's over 700 projects we're involved in, and EmployNext is one of them, right? So within this community, within Ontario, we are involved with employment services, and this is where my specialty or comes in, right? So with
So like the mentoring program with with the YMCA, and then you've got Conestoga College has some services. So you work with those that are doing the hands on. You're kind of coordinating a lot of those types of services as well.
coordinating in the sense, I would say, working together.
Right.
But when it comes to working directly with them, it's the employment
Yeah.
services piece of it,
Yeah.
right? But with the mentorship program that you mentioned and other programs too, we're very involved with that as well. Yes.
Um, so you manage the services that businesses in Waterloo region rely on, like and I think this is something that I wanted to have you on is there's lots of concern with immigration and some of the things that have gone wrong, but the pure reality is that for any business that's looking to fill a job of virtually every category in Waterloo region, you're almost assuredly going to need to fill those every passing day with newcomers to get. That's where the talent source is coming from, and the job that the immigration partnership does and the work that Serco is doing with service providers is to make sure that those folks are job ready, that they can be step right in to any business, whether it's services, whether it's engineering, whether it's tech, trades, and make sure that they're ready to jump in and be a productive part of a workforce, because that's where the jobs are going to be filled, is from newcomers to the country.
Yes.
So talk about as you walk us through how Serco supports job seekers, but also the employers that are going to do the hiring, and what makes the approach that you take unique, because it's not the same everywhere. It would be different in different provinces. Different communities will have different approaches. Talk about the approach that you take.
For sure. So I'll start off with the job seekers. So we support job seekers through our service providers, right? Now we do have a remote job coach as well who works with clients who want only virtual support, but it's mostly through then our service providers, right? Now at the service provider level, we support job seekers, I can say, a holistic approach, right? So we do the assessment, kind of determine what their employment needs are, right? How long they've been out of job, what kind
Mm-hmm.
of job are they looking for, education background, age, and all the assessment we do it, and then we kind of see where is a good fit for for this client. We kind of see their top three choices of what kind of job they want to do or what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So we do all that assessment and then determine, okay, this client is a good fit at this sector. And then we have job coaches or job developers who's going to work with them to get the job for them, right? So they're going to provide, I guess I can say from A to Z, they're going to provide all the support to the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a holistic approach, right? Like once a client walks in, we will do resume, cover letter, workshops, and get them fully employment ready and then put them into a job. And then once they're in the job, we do follow up during and after post employment, we say, right? So we're always in touch with them. We're always in regular and constant communication with the client to ensure they're doing well. Because sometimes people have challenges that they don't feel comfortable sharing with everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once we assign a job coach, they're kind of there as a mentor to walk them through the employment process, put them in the job, and also follow up regularly after the job. So that's for clients. But when it comes to employers, I usually like to call it a partnership we do, right? Because with employers, we really want to understand what the needs of the business are, the
Mm-hmm.
culture, the environment, how, like, what kind of positions are they looking to fill in, right? So I'll give you an example that last week I was in Guelph and I met with a manufacturing employer, and basically I was having a conversation about what kind of jobs he's looking to hire for, what kind of candidates he's looking for, what skill sets he needs. And despite having all this conversation, I was like, "Can you give me a tour of your facility?" Right? So I had a tour of the facility. I met his staff, had a good conversation with them. It's kind of understanding the environment and
Mm-hmm.
understanding the employer needs. So what I guess I can say is that we go above and beyond to
Mm-hmm.
really understand the needs of the employer, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to send them somebody who's not going to be a good fit kind of thing, right? Or I'm not going to connect them with the service provider that I know we don't have the clients for. So having that, understanding and building this partnership with them and this relationship with them, I think it's very important. And that's how we really support employers, in the sense that we really try to understand them, and we really try to look for the best candidate for them. Then again, we support with recruitment, we
Yeah.
support with candidate search, we advertise, we post jobs for them, and most importantly, we have a subsidy program that they can take advantage of to once they hire.
Once they hire for a period of time to get them.
Correct. Correct.
So, I mean, all of that is it's to some degree not revolutionary. Those are the things that I think we've been doing for a lot of years. But the way you put it all together,
Mm.
I think is unique for or new. How do leadership in that, and you've got some great folks on the ground here. You're kind of leading a team and trying to make sure you're getting all that information from employers, from the job seekers, all the service providers, to make sure you can make it all fit. Um, Leadership in that environment, when you've got so many multiple audiences and stakeholders involved, is must be complex. So what are some of the things, the principles, I guess, that guide, how you try and bring all those voices together, hear all the messages you're getting,
Yeah.
and still deliver something that ultimately is, if we boil it right down to saying, how do I help employers and how do I help newcomers who are looking for a job? That ultimately is what you're doing. How do you kind of put all those, what type of leadership approach do you look to make sure that you're able to accomplish that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ian. And one thing I've always said is that the best way to up, work with somebody or work with an organization is empathy, care, collaboration. These are key for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we meet with our team, we mention this on a regular basis. As I mentioned, I gave an example earlier about the employer. I went to tour their facility, for example, right? As taking the step and going above and beyond to kind of support the community partner or the job seeker or the service provider, right? So caring for the partner and really understanding what they need,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's very important, because oftentimes that, you know um, sometimes people have unrealistic expectations,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for example, some employers might want a person who can do 10 different roles, right? Which is not really realistic, but it's like having that conversation, right? Explaining the pros and cons, and kind of, okay, this is the situation, and this is how it's going to look like, and that's how it's going to look like, and kind of putting all the facts on the table with them, right? So it's really about understanding and caring for somebody. I'm the kind of person where I genuinely care for people and I want to see businesses, people, communities doing very well. So anything I can do to support, I'm always willing to go above and beyond. And that's the approach I take even when I'm talking with my team or my colleagues. This is something I always bring forward, that, you know what, you got to do it from the heart, right? You got to really care, and you really got to want to make a difference in the community, right? So that's something I really focus on. It's try to
Mm-hmm.
go above and beyond, really try to understand, and try to really make a difference in the community.
The Behind the Business podcast is made possible through the support of our title sponsor, Gore Mutual. Proudly Canadian, Gore Mutual has stayed true to one purpose for more than 185 years: insurance that does good. It's the reason they exist. They believe that when we focus on being good, doing good, and spreading good, we all thrive together. We're grateful for their continued commitment to our local communities and the positive impact they make every day. For more information, visit goremutual.ca. So you do, you talked about Goose Bay, so you're all over the country in some of the work that you do, but Ontario is a unique region depending on where you are. Kitchener-Waterloo will look different than other parts of the province, obviously. Um, when it comes to talent and employers and workforce challenges, um, and maybe less so Barrie, but certainly for Kitchener-Waterloo, what makes KW and this region of Waterloo unique in terms of the talent and employers and workforce and the challenges that brings you? Because I look at this and say, I think one of the benefits of Waterloo region has been we're much more like a Toronto or a Montreal where we have 5 or 6 different sectors, all of which are relatively equal. Agriculture is still a
Yes.
really big employer. Advanced manufacturing, technology, financial services, insurance, small business and retail. I mean, they're all you're trying to place newcomers with the jobs, but it's not 1 or 2 segments. It's all of those are looking for that. That must be unique for this area because it really does feel like it's when you put some of those pieces in place, feels like it's a bigger community. Like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, you're going to find everything.
Hmm.
All business sectors are there. Absolutely. Waterloo's kind of more like that. Waterloo region's kind of more like that. Does that present challenges in how you work with your service providers and the work that you're doing?
If you remember, Ian, a couple of months ago when we were actually hit with the tariffs,
Yeah.
KW was the fourth city that was hit the hardest,
Yeah.
right? And the reason being for that is that this region that we are in, it has, as you mentioned, manufacturing,
Yeah.
right? The majority of the manufacturing happens within KW region, right?
Yeah.
So that is one challenge that we had faced because yes, the tariffs really impacted, right? And I know there was a lot of employers letting go of people. However, when I look at, for example, Barrie, it's more of the service type employers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare and stuff like that, right? The challenge that I see with both regions is that employers are there are employers and they're looking for talent. At the same time, we have talent, we have people looking for employment within those sectors, but they're not able to connect. So, somewhere in between, I feel there's a disconnect with
Mm-hmm.
both regions. And this is where we're trying to come in now. Where Circle's trying to come in and be like, okay, we need to connect with these employers and we need to let them know that, we have these many clients who are interested in manufacturing. So, for example, within our database for EmployNext, we have over 25,000 job seekers, right? And when I break this down to KW region, majority of the clients are looking for manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we have manufacturing companies who are not aware of, talent that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
The example I gave when I went to golf, he didn't know that we had so many clients looking for manufacturing, right?
Mm.
So somewhere there's a disconnect where I just think that clients are not finding the jobs and the employers are not finding the talent kind of thing. So we're trying to come in between now and say, okay, what can we do to bridge the gap kind of thing, right?
That's where we're working with the partnership and folks like Charlene at the Workforce
100%.
Planning
Yeah.
Board and the chambers. That we all need to be on the same page. Listen, hiring. If we come to the hiring part, because for a business that's watching this, going, okay, I service providers, it's fine. You're talking about this stuff. Ultimately, I'm in this because I need to hire an engineer here or
Yeah.
a skilled trade there, take your pick of whatever they're looking for. That's what the hiring is the thing they're doing.
Correct.
That can be a challenge in any time, whether it's good economic times or bad. Like there's challenges with hiring, especially onboarding and training of new staff. And I wouldn't put this just for immigrant, although there are some specific things there. I mean, getting young people who may not have had job experience before, whether it's newcomers coming to town and may not understand all the sort of the cultural pieces. How does your team, so how does Serco help and work with employers to make this process easier and faster and maybe more cost effective, like where the hiring actually sticks? Like you say, oh, I hired Tamim, he's a great guy, and it's really helping my business. Like I know I've had a success. How do you kind of pull those pieces together?
For sure. Well, first of all, I just want to say, I definitely agree with you because there's a lot of challenges. Like in my career, I've worked with small to medium to large scale employers, right?
Yeah.
And hiring has been a very big challenge. Turnover, retention has been a big challenge. In fact, I remember very clearly as if it happened like yesterday. I was working with a small business and they actually had to close down because of all the turnover.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the challenges. I know the struggles that small business and medium sized, because especially they don't have a HR department. They have it's like a one man kind of show. One person runs everything. So there's a lot of challenges that they face, right? So when it comes to small to medium sized employers, we have like I mentioned earlier, candidate search. We will provide them with candidates. We will basically streamline their job posting, like kind of see what exactly are you looking for, and when do you need it, right? So we will basically take on the whole recruitment process for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is all free of charge. We don't charge anything because we are funded by the Ministry of Labor.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do everything from A to Z to ensure this employer gets a candidate for their work.
Mm.
On top of that, we have an incentive program that we can offer that if you hire this client for this many, maybe a month, 2 month, you'll get incentive for,
Mm.
right? So this helps offset some of the training costs, right? So when you're an employer, especially a small to medium sized employer, and you're really looking for some kind of support, this support is really beneficial. So, Ian, I just want to mention that I also host a employer advisory table,
Mm-hmm.
and on a quarterly basis, and I bring together employers. And I know when the tariffs first came around, I brought in some resources and information from the community to support employers.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, Ian, a lot of employers didn't know what supports are available to them
Yeah.
in their community. And I was like, okay, wow, this is very surprising. So it's about, I find with business owners mainly, because they're so involved with the,
Yeah, they're doing their day to
operation,
day, their
they're doing
operations.
operations, somebody calls in sick or doesn't
Yeah, they're
show up,
they're managing the
then
crisis of the day.
exactly. So then they don't have a lot of time looking outside. Okay, what support is available to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. So I have these working tables where I host them on a quarterly basis, and I bring employers together, and we talk about the pressing issues, the challenges, and I even open it up to them. What do you want to know? What do you want to learn? I can, we can work on that. We have community partners that are offering training programs for employers, like for example soft skill solutions, for example, right? So I could connect them with that, right? There's a lot of supports that is available to employers that we can provide.
Mm-hmm.
All they got to do is just, for example, just reach out, and we're there to support them.
So a collaboration it seems is a central or a critical component to the work that you do. So how do the partnerships, like, we're getting to know each other uh, between the chamber and what you're doing, but there's tables like the immigration partnership. You've got um, you know other organizations and maybe other levels of government that are sort of involved in this. How do you kind of pull that together so that you're not duplicating efforts, and
Yeah.
that everyone is aware? And to your point, even making sure other levels of government, other organizations know what you do, and so that you're not duplicating and not stepping in each other. That must be important to making sure that you get the most benefit to the end user.
100%. Collaboration is part of what we do here at Serco. We connect, as you mentioned earlier too. I am personally involved with a lot of working groups,
Mm-hmm.
committees, right? I regularly attend events, right? When I get invites from MPs or MPPs, and they have events coming up, I regularly attend. And what we're trying to do is build an ecosystem kind of with our community partners and the employers that we work with, right? And we don't want to make it a transactional kind of deal where when I need you, I'll contact you, but rather we want to make it something very consistent that we're meeting on a regular basis, talking and exploring some of the issues or the challenges that's there in the community and how we can work together. A good example would be that just last week I had a youth with higher support needs working group
Mm-hmm.
that I was chairing, and I brought this issue up that after Christmas and New Year, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be unemployed because seasonal jobs are
Yeah,
going to be
seasonal
over,
jobs. Yeah.
right? So I said, what can we do to come together to support these people, right? Because now they've worked consistently for like 2-3 months, getting good paychecks, and now back to zero.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do? So I proposed the idea of doing a community job fair, and right now I'm just working on a survey to kind of put it out to see what people think. But it's through these community partners that we work with that brings a lot of success, right?
Sometimes people misunderstand what specific employment programs do. So talk about maybe EmployNext and what it can offer. I mean, there must be misconceptions about, what you can provide, what you can't provide. But the important part is like, what do you provide, and what's the real value to businesses? What does that look like?
Yeah. So misconceptions, I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people think that when working with the employment provider, their workload basically doubles. But actually, it's the exact opposite.
Mhm.
It reduces the workload only because, we're coming in there, we're taking over basically your recruitment process, for example.
Yeah.
We're finding candidates for you. We're basically prepping them up for you. We're just sending them to you for the last stage to do the interviews. So workload actually decreases when you're working with the employment service provider, right? The other thing that I've been hearing from employers is that if there's a catch to our program, right? So I'm like, there's really no catch, but you can definitely go to your closest MPP and talk about what's happening with employment services, and I'm sure they can give you directions. But there's honestly no catch because oftentimes employers feel that if I hire somebody from your program and I keep them for 4, 5, or 6 months, are you going to charge me a certain kind of fee because you supported me during this process, right? And I'm like, no, nothing like that. All services are 100% free, and we're there to support the community.
So, for a business owner or a hiring manager that's listening today, why should they consider partnering with Serco and EmployNext? I mean, and is it the team-based approach that stands out? And I guess to finalize that, how do they get in touch with the right folks? Because it may be you, it may be one of the service providers. Talk a little bit about how people get connected.
Sure. So one thing I always say to the employers is that tell me something you think I cannot help you with, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because we go from anything from recruiting, hiring, job support, subsidy. We take care of all of that for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the support is there 100%, right? So if any employers have any questions or they want to inquire a little bit more, for sure, I'm very active on social media such as LinkedIn. Search Tamim Hamidi and you will find it there. I attend a lot of chamber events.
Yes.
They could connect with you. You can give them
Yeah,
my contact
absolutely.
information.
Yeah, happy to do that. That's what we do, networking. Listen, before we wrap up, we're almost out of time, and I always this it's great to hear about what you're doing at Serco and the connection with businesses. But this podcast is also a little bit about leadership and leadership styles from leaders in the community, of which you're one. So this is the rapid fire. I ask short questions, you give short answers just before we wrap up. So let's start. If you could go back and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
If I could go back and tell something to my younger self, would be take more risk.
Mm,
Go into a lion's cage.
yeah. Well, you know what? With the
I'm
benefit,
joking. I don't think I would do that, but definitely take some more risk.
you know what? It's true. The older you get, you kind of say, "I wish I had done that more."
Exactly.
Who or what inspires you in your journey?
Good people. I'm always a big fan of. Just Monday, I was at an event and I met an employer, and I was like, and she was telling me about the work that she's doing. It's so much involved with the community, with their staff, and I was like, wow, you're actually an inspirational. Like that's fantastic. So, good people, good-hearted people. That's what really inspires me.
Positive is a good thing.
Positive energy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
If you weren't in your current career, because you've had some different things along the way, what would you be doing?
Probably with the Canadian Armed Forces, police. I had this passion when I was in school that I
Wow.
wanted to be a police officer or something like that. So probably police officer or a member.
Well, if you want to make a change, I do chair the police board. I
Oh,
can
you
put you in touch with the police chief because we need good people there too. So
Okay.
if you're not that I'm trying to poach from Serco, but if you do, would love
Good
to
to
do
know. Thank you.
that. Are you reading a book or do you watch a podcast? What do you do to kind of either let go or keep yourself current?
So since I'm here at your podcast, I started watching yours.
They did. I think. Well, it's such an obvious answer right there, but
Behind the Business podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So started watching this and it's great. So I'm enjoying it and it's really awesome. Especially the people, the guests that you bring.
Yeah.
Definitely, like especially they're very connected to the KW community.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, just from your podcast you can learn so much.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I've been really recently
Good.
I've been watching.
That's the first good answer anyone's given. We've been doing this for like a year and a half. You're the first person that said that. That's awesome. Is there a favorite business or a restaurant or a coffee shop in Waterloo region that's your go-to when you're in town?
All of the above. I like all of them,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well,
They're all great.
It is a great community.
It's a great community.
Uptown Waterloo, downtown. There's tons of
100%. Like I go to the coffee shops, the restaurants, and honestly, fantastic people.
Yeah.
They don't even let you clean up. They just come, oh, don't
Yeah,
worry, sir.
yeah.
You can just leave and we'll take care of
Yeah.
it. So it's amazing. So love everything here.
Okay, now maybe take a bit of time. Where do listeners go to connect with you and Serco? So do you want to? Is it LinkedIn? You said
So LinkedIn, or they can go to our website, EmployNext.ca.
EmployNext.ca.
.ca, that's right. And all the information will be there. We have a form that you could fill out, and then especially with employers.
And what's your LinkedIn? Is it
Tamim?
Tamim?
No, just search Tamim Hamidi.
Oh, okay, Tamim Hamidi.
Yeah.
And that'll pop up. That's a good way to
That
get.
will pop up. Yeah.
And
LinkedIn.
I've looked at that and getting ready for this too.
Okay,
So it is
all right.
there. I know that it's there.
Thank you.
Listen, we know how busy you are, and leaders are always busy, but we really appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing the Serco story and how you're working with businesses right here in Waterloo Region. Thanks for joining us today.
And thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Business, proudly presented by Gore Mutual, insurance that does good. New episodes drop every Thursday, so be sure to tune in next week. You can also visit greaterkwchamber.com to catch up on past episodes anytime. We'll see you next time as we continue to go Behind the Business.